and mute. I haven't frozen. I'm just waiting.
Oh.
Not frozen. And mute. Yep, see. Okay. I'm not sure why Dr. Fauci is showing up on the YouTube live. But
Trying to let us
hopefully
know
that's,
something.
hopefully that's just a commercial. Yeah, I didn't invite him here tonight, but he's always welcome to join us.
I'm going to get my mask on.
Nice. All right. Oh gosh. Okay. I know why this is taking so long. It's because someone is waiting to get into our meeting. And that someone is Brenda. Okay. Welcome, Brenda. We're just about to start the principal's report. And starting us off, I have a student showcase. The student was hoping to show up tonight, and he may still do just that. Hopefully he will. But the student I wanted to showcase just completed a PSS advancement. And for those of you who don't know what a PSS advancement is, I'll share just a brief overview. PSS is a content area at Highland, and it stands for Personal, Social, and Service Skills and Standards, but it's so much more than that. This is like the real life, like the heart and soul of our instruction at Highland. And students at the end of every level need to showcase their work, and we call that an advancement. And they put together a panel comprised of their advisor, at least one teacher, at least one peer. And when you get to level 2, you need an administrator, levels 2 and 3. Level 1 PSS is really about what you're learning. Level 2 PSS is who you've become and as a result of some of these learning opportunities. And level 3 is a really powerful PSS advancement that really shows the panel that the student knows where they're going and really has internalized these things. And a lot of times students start off in PSS level 1 and they say, what's all this extra work I need to do? I didn't have to do this at my other school. Why I do this in advisory? What's going on here? And it doesn't always click in right away. And I went to a PSS advancement just yesterday from one of our seniors, and he is almost done with level 3 PSS, but is kind of, because of the pandemic, he didn't have a chance to do his level 2 advancement. And so he did it yesterday via Zoom, and it really was like a level 3 advancement. It was really, really neat. And after the students give their presentation, the panel has a chance to ask questions. And a couple of the questions had a lot to do with the relevance of PSS in his life. And he was able to articulate very clearly how important it is and how he wished that everybody needed to do this. This was a requirement for everyone. He's a great guy. He's been on our safety committee for the past 2 years and come to monthly meetings to work with staff members to make sure that our safety plan is in place and that we're not missing any dangerous red flags, like things in the parking lot or crowds at lunch. And this is all before the pandemic. So he's been a great leader at Highland, and hopefully he will show up at some point this evening. So yeah, I was hoping to get him to kind of share part of his advancement with us, but that's okay. So Grant, and it's really hard to see these PSS advancements. I'll just add this because Especially by the time they get to level 3, it usually means they are really close to graduating. And so there are often tissues where there are usually tears, and it's really neat to see and to have this opportunity to really hear from students about their learning opportunities at Highland. So it's been really neat. And if you would like me to have an official PSS advancement, that's something that I could push Grant to do, is to present that to the board on one of our upcoming meetings. They generally take a long time, which is the only reason we haven't done that, but they generally take about an hour between the presentation. There's an interactive that the panel needs to do, that's some sort of a reflective activity, and then questioning, and then the student does a self-scoring on the rubric while the panel scores the student on the rubric, and then the student comes back in the room, and we share our final reflections on the advancement with the student. So he got advanced on his and did a really great job.
Definitely get your tissues ready, Amy, because Robin's PSS 3 is on the 3rd.
Oh man, yep, that'll be a good one. Yeah, hopefully you're invited too, Brenda.
Oh, yes.
Good.
Yeah, in fact, Dad and I are planning on taking the day off. The only bummer is it's on Zoom instead of in person.
Yeah. Yep, that is a bummer. I know. Any questions about PSS advancements, or about Grant, or any of our students, or these graduation requirements? Okay. All right, I wanted to give you a couple of updates. We are in Q3 now, and today was day 2 of small student groups in the building. Wednesdays are reserved for our seniors or our grads, and so it was really fun to see them in the building. Ms. Crosby and Nurse Laura set up the commons with classroom tables and chairs, and they're all spread out 6 feet apart so that students have individual workstations. And it has been a really nice, calm, quiet work environment. Today we had 10 students that were Zooming into their classes, and then our after-school tutoring session began today as well. And that seemed to go really well. We had a smaller group, which is good for the first day. And typically we'll have an administrator and a teacher doing the after school tutoring. And then every day but Thursday, we'll have a TA helping as well. So that's a pretty good ratio for students to be able to come in and get some after school tutoring and some help. And we've been able to troubleshoot some issues with Zoom and help students make sure that they're staying up to date with their classes. So that's been really nice. And we look forward to doing that for the rest of this quarter. We currently have a wait list for students from the 8 to 1 for the 8 to 1 o'clock time slot. And then in our December meeting, I mentioned that we'd have a weekly call-in process for the after school tutoring. So people call in the week before and then schedule set days for their child, or the student can call into, and reserve seats for the after school tutoring, with the idea that we just meet as many needs as we possibly can with the after school tutoring. And also recognizing there's a variety of needs. It's not just academic. So it's good to be able to meet some of those social emotional needs as well. So that's our Q3 update. We are rolling on that.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, absolutely.
As far as the tutoring goes, are different teachers rotating through the area, or all teachers kind of working on stuff and at hand, or who is actually doing the tutoring?
Good question. So we have 2 staff members. We opened it up to staff members to volunteer to sign up for this paid position. And so we've got a science and math teacher, Mr. Kellerby. And so he does STEM projects or STEM related help on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And Mr. Clouchy does the humanities, language arts, and social studies on Mondays and Fridays. So that way parents and students can plan, if they don't need language arts help or social studies help, then they should definitely come on Tuesdays and Thursdays when they're getting math and science.
That sounds good. Thank you.
Sure. You bet. Any other questions about quarter 3? All right. Marketing updates. We currently have on our website 2 parent Zoom sessions for prospective Highland parents. Both of those are taking place on February 2nd, one at noon, hoping to get the lunch break people, and then one at 6 p.m., hoping to get people as they come home from work. And these are just the first 2 that have been scheduled. I've reached out to a handful of parents to see if they would be interested in participating in either of those. And I would like to open that invitation up to APC members as well. It would be great to have you represented or to have you lead a breakout session about Highland and what's unique about Highland. But, I think that our best marketing tool right now is word of mouth. And so what we're really trying to do is be intentional about what people do with that word. So if they say, oh, Highland, what's that? Oh, it's not a correctional facility. Oh, okay, it's a charter school. Well, let me go to their website. And when they go to our website, we want to make sure that there's robust. That's a robust website that's up to date and ready to go to give parents information. And so part of that is having these Zoom sessions for prospective parents to really hear from other parents and to hear from teachers and to hear from board members and from more people than just me and Ms. Crosby. Students too. So I'll be reaching out to students to get some student interest in that. And then the other big thing that we're really working on is a virtual tour, which right now looks like will be a slideshow with some voiceovers, and that will be focused on the 4 pillars of Highland Academy Charter School and educating for leadership, educating for life. So accountability, academics, character development, and career and service learning are 4 pillars. And everything that we do really fits under the educating for leadership, educating for life in one of those 4 pillars, or sometimes 2 or 3 of those 4 pillars. So we'll be framing our message with those pillars. Shelley has her hand up.
I do, yeah. I just make sure I'm not muted. I was just curious, do we have a Facebook post for the prospective parent Zooms that could be shared? Because I'm happy to share one.
That's a good question. I will ask Ms. Crosby. We just put those on the calendar, was that yesterday or the day before? So I'll check with her and see if we can put that on Facebook if it isn't already.
Awesome, thank you.
Mm-hmm. It's really, one more thing to this. We're working on a 1-pager, 2 1-pagers. One of those would be a flyer for these visit our school Zoom sessions. And we'll be designing that and sending that out through interdistrict mail to 5th and 6th grade teachers in the area, and then to middle schools as well, just to see if we can, and charter schools, see if we can get some traction that way. I have presented to Aquarian Charter School, and that was really great just to meet some parents, and I will probably be doing that again by invitation. So that I'm hoping to meet with them, and then also Eagle Academy. But I really miss Phoenix Rising. They've done such a nice job the past few years, and it's a bummer that we don't have them up and running again this year. But there's next year. You can always look forward to next year. Any other questions about marketing?
Just a clarification, Amy, if we're wanting the board to attend the virtual tours on the 2nd, which I would say at least one of us should probably be in attendance. Do we want to take note of who can do it now? Do you want us to email? What would be the more efficient way to go about that as far as having at least one of us at the nooner and one of us at the 6?
How about if initially I send out an email so that you'll have a chance to think about it and look at your calendars? I'll
Okay.
send out an email, and then if nobody replies to one of the sessions, then I'll send a follow-up email begging.
And the one advantage with
Okay.
that is Shelley and I are both looking at trying to be at least one of those as PTSO also and parent, so we can also represent the APC. So hopefully at least one of us will be there in some capacity.
Yeah. Yep.
I just put them on my calendar so that way I don't try and overbook if I can help it. And that one-page flyer that you mentioned sending out through interdistrict mail, are you also going to do it through email too for those who tend to, are more electronic focused than paper?
We can definitely send that out to our families to send on to their friends and families. But I'm not sure about emailing 5th and 6th grade teacher. I'll look at that, but we'll definitely have a digital copy that we can put on our website, that we can put on Facebook, and that we can email out to our families.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, give me a shout when that Facebook one's ready and I'll blast it out on a whole
Okay.
bunch of groups.
Cool. That'd be great. Yeah. And we've got 10 students signed up for the lottery, which is a little low for this late. And it's not that late. It's the 21st of January, but the lottery opened on the 1st. So we typically do have a few more at this point. So we really want to get those numbers up as soon as possible. So working on that. And, Shelley, you have your hand up. Did you have another question, or is that just still up?
No, it was just still up. But if you are interested in emailing them, I happen to have almost all of the teacher emails for everyone in the state for most grades, for most schools, for most districts. So I could probably sort and share if part of the things I have to do. So I do have a lot of them in there. Some of them are sorted by grade. So,
Okay. I'll be in touch.
okay.
Thanks. All right, moving on. I wanted to give you another big update about Q4. The secondary division through ASD is set to go back on March 15th as things stand now, back face-to-face in-person learning. Of course, that could always change, but that's the plan moving forward. We are currently working with ASD to ensure that our classroom size is adequate for our roster sizes or our student numbers. And the options, we really were hoping to be able to give families the option to stay home and Zoom into their classes. But what we'll end up having to do, because of our limitations on bandwidth and the limitations on just trying to do everything at once, is to do something similar to what we did last year, Q4, where all learning was asynchronous and Wednesdays were used for tutoring or for meetings, Wednesdays and after school hours as well. So the option is still available for families to stay home and not come to school, but all of the learning will be asynchronous if they choose to do that. And that will all be through Empower. So the good news is that our families and our students are well versed in Empower and already have established relationships with teachers. So I think that those that are choosing to stay home will still continue to have their needs met. It was too much of a challenge. It's amazing how much bandwidth Zoom takes up. We can only have 11 Zoom sessions going on at the same time in our building at any given time. And that pretty much eats up all of our bandwidth. So nothing else could be really going on at that time. So that was the reason for that decision. We are considering a phased in entry just to get students used to it. Even just yesterday when we only had a handful of students in the building, they were all like, whoa, this is so weird to be back here. And everyone was really good about their masks and social distancing and washing hands and taking turns using the restroom. But it was a small number. And I think it's just, our worlds have been rocked this past year. It's been a tough year, and being able to just start small, I think will be welcomed by teachers and students. So we are considering that for the first week to really get started. We've also talked as a staff about potentially having intensives at the very beginning of fourth quarter, a shortened period of intensives, so that we're starting off doing something fun and it's not just academic and okay, back to math. Just allowing students and staff the chance to really process what is going on and what has gone on. So that is what we're thinking for fourth quarter. And the last thing I have is just to make sure we get a photograph. We don't have to do it now, but I added a slide to make sure that we actually got a picture, because on our website, we've got our APC from last year. So we still have Amy Robinson, and we're missing Annie and Jim and Ulf, and I think we're missing Joey. Oh no, Joey was in that picture. So it'd be good to get an update.
So Amy, I have a question. Oh, sorry.
Sure. That's okay.
From the report. So if the fourth quarter is all asynchronous, but their kids are in the building and maybe it's a phased in kind of thing, and kids have certain days assigned to them, would it just be kind of the teacher would be sort of like a tutor in the room, so that they'd go to empower all their assignments, their learning path would be built there, and it would just be kind of like support from the teacher during their scheduled class time?
No, I'm really glad that you asked. So when students are in the building face-to-face, they'll be getting face-to-face instruction from the teachers. This is only for the students that choose not to come to school.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm really glad you asked that, Jim. So yeah, asynchronous learning will be just for those that choose to stay home.
Okay.
And then the other benefit to that I forgot to mention was the students that either need to quarantine or just are out sick, hopefully not with COVID, they can continue to work even though they have to stay home for 14 days, right? So they can continue to be involved in the classroom. Shelley, you have a question?
Yeah, I was just curious, because of our dual role, me and Brenda, I know we talked about ways to try to increase the bandwidth, like with a mesh router or something like that, and with the PTSO helping to fund something like that. So is that not feasible anymore, or just curious?
That is my understanding, but that's based on what Philippe mentioned in the PTSO meeting. So I should look into that and see if there is a way around that. But I think there were limitations, and he gave me an explanation, but I can't articulate that to you.
Yeah, I was just looking to see if bandwidth is the actual issue, and then it was saying the best thing is that as like a mesh router, which I know that's what we did at our house to help with that. So it could be worth a conversation with IT, and yeah.
But I think if I remember correctly, Philippe said the bandwidth wasn't the issue. It was something else that couldn't be fixed with the way the internet was there. And that might be something too, is touch base with Philippe, like shoot him an email and find out, excuse me, what he thought could be. And like Shelley said, touch base with the ITs, because of course they're going to know best what can or can't happen in the building.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because between IT and then the actual provider, they should be able to answer the question for exactly what the problem is. Like if you guys use GCI or something like that, GCI can tap in and identify what the challenge is and then tell us what kind of solutions there may be, and whether that's a solution the PTSO can help with. I know we had already agreed that we'd be happy to help, so might.
Okay, yeah, I'll pick that back up and see if there's there's anything. We've been told not to ask for more bandwidth because it's not possible. But this is a different question. I'm not asking them to give us more bandwidth. I'm asking what it would take for us to provide more. So there's a difference.
Yes. Yeah, because if the problem's just something that requires a couple devices that the district won't pay for, but we will, that could solve a problem.
Yep, for sure. Any other questions? All right. Well, I hate to take a picture without before we have a new student member and without Megan, but maybe we could do one now, and then at our next meeting, hopefully we have 100% attendance and I can update it then.
Sure, we can have a picture every month. We can keep changing them all we want, but this is a good start. Joseph, do you mind putting a hole in your head in there? I'd kind of like to see your chin. I can't see your beard at all.
Let me turn live transcript off because that's blocking that for me anyway.
Well, I was just like talking about tilting your
Tilt your
screen
screen
so that
down.
the whole head is in the picture, please.
All right.
So you just got to tilt it down, I think.
Oh, that's sorry. There we go.
You're doing good, John.
All right.
Now, Joey, you need to lean to the side so that your name isn't covering your mouth. There you go.
It's gonna look like I'm standing up because I'm sitting on a bench right now.
Okay. Okay, are we ready?
All set.
All right. It's like the Brady Bunch.
It is. All right. 3, 2, 1. Awesome. I'm not even going to look at it. I'll just assume that it's fabulous. And then we'll do another one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like you said, John, maybe we can have a calendar one day with every month,
Yeah.
a different Zoom photo.
Different backgrounds, all kinds of exciting
I
things.
like
we
Yeah,
can do.
that would require costumes if we're doing one a month. I mean, we need to.
Oh,
Ooh, themed meetings,
at least 20 hats, if not whole costumes.
crazy hair day.
Well, that'd be hard.
Oh no, there you could do a lot with those beards.
So a funny side note, I noticed today after talking to Mr. Kellerby that half of his advisory wore Napoleon Dynamite glasses for their photos last year. So, and we have student photos by advisory. So it's so cute. They're all just wearing Napoleon Dynamite glasses.
Don't get me started on those classes. I was about ready to kill my kid because it's his senior picture and he looks like a dork.
It's so great all together though. I mean, I get what you're saying. Oh, okay. All right, so live transcripting is back on. And Alex, I will share our agenda so that we can move forward.
Okay. All right.
Oh, I'm sorry. I need to continue with my principal report. I didn't, nothing has changed in the budget. We have paid down all of our CARES Act funds through the nurses' salary and through our extra PPE and extra technology that we have ordered. So that's the only change that we have to our budget. And then item C here was for charter renewal. I just wanted to get this on the board's radar screen that our charter renewal is coming up in 2023, which seems like a long ways from now, but it's a pretty major process that we need to run through ASD's board, and then they run through the state to renew our charter. So I'm working on the process for that. Daryl Vincek has been a huge help in making sure I have all of the resources that I need. And I've been reviewing, just going through the bylaws and through our previous charter and looking to see what updates I might propose. So I'm doing some background work there, doing some of my homework so that hopefully once we start working on that charter renewal, it will go a little bit faster. So I'm not changing anything from our charter from last year or last decade, because we renew every 10 years. Not changing anything, I'm just making proposals for changes. So something to consider as we start working on committee work. And now I'm officially done, Alex.
Okay. Well, I guess we can move now into item number 6, meeting the mission of the charter, and under that sub-item A, student member. I would assume everyone got the nomination form and did we all have a chance to review that?
Yes, it did.
Yes.
Okay. How do we want to go about doing this then? We got two members here. Were we going to have each of them make a presentation, mention something, or are we going with just what we have here?
Well, at our
But
meeting-
both last meeting, so
yes. And so what we needed was a little time to review their nomination forms. And we do have one of them here. Robert is here with us tonight. So we do have the benefit of being able to ask Robert questions. But to answer your question, Alex, this is something that has kind of perplexed me in our bylaws too, and is different than any other charter, is that board members are nominated and voted on by current board members. And I think in all the other charters, it's the public that votes. So, but I double checked our bylaws and it does say that current board members vote for new board members. So just something to consider for maybe for our renewal, for example. But that's the process that we have right now, is that our board members vote.
Right.
I think, Amy, the intent of that was to ensure a consistency of vision over time, at least initially, but I don't know
You're really breaking up.
why it's like that now, but I get it.
Okay, I think I caught part of that, John. That you're okay with the process as it stands now? Did we lose John?
We lost him.
we
Yeah, I
lost
think
John, yeah.
I think he'll probably be back soon.
The return of John.
I have a question is, are we limited to just having 2 student reps on the APC?
I think we're limited not necessarily by the number of student reps, but by the number of total board members. But I need to double check the bylaws on that. I think we need to stay at under 15, from 9 to 15, I think is what our bylaws say.
Okay.
Alex is fact checking me, I think.
Yes.
And what is our current board? How many do we have? Because I know we added more in this last round.
Mm-hmm. I'm just double checking.
I think we're up to 13.
13.
Okay.
Well, 12.
Okay.
That would be including Amy, right? So,
Right.
Yeah, and I don't think I count.
no. So maybe it's 11.
Currently 11, is what you're saying?
I think.
And John's back.
Hi, John.
Hey, John, you're back.
I'm out in the boondocks here. My connection's weak, but I jumped back on.
Oh,
Nice.
good, good.
So to update you, John, the question came up of,
I think we're at
are
12.
we only allowed 2 students, or could we have more than that? And per the bylaws, it's 12 to 15 members. And we're trying to figure out exactly how many members we currently have.
Yeah, one of the questions is Lily Sporowski. Every time I communicate with her, she says, I still want to come to the board meetings. But it has been a while since she's been to a board meeting. So I can check in with her again and see what her intention is, if she tends to stay on the board. Same with Carter. He hasn't officially resigned yet, but he hasn't been to a meeting since last May. So.
Hmm. Okay, so at this point, then, how do we want to move forward here? We've got the 2 nominees, and how do we propose going about selecting the next student board member? Then, how do we want to do it?
If we can only have one, should we go into executive session? Want us to make a motion to go to executive session, or no? John's saying no.
I don't need to. I don't mind talking in front of Robert. I think I think we have some student members that we're not sure if they're on or not, so we don't know our number there. But we have a student member who's been interested in participating and has showed up every time, unlike people who are supposedly on the list. So I would actually say I'd like to keep it simple, and I'm going to move that we accept Robert as a member. I liked his resume, and I like the fact that he's here every time, and I don't have to think too much about that anymore. But I don't mind listening to you guys. What do you think?
I second that.
Mhm.
So it appears we have a motion and a second. Discussion.
I probably should abstain. I'm thinking there's a conflict potentially, but I don't know.
Well, you're a board member. We don't have that in the bylaws, do we?
I don't have a problem with it. Don't
Now,
abstain.
what's funny is it came up on the PTSO side because of my son and I for the same thing.
I do have a question for clarification. That with the with the members that haven't been active, do we have room for 2 new student members until those are decided if they're going to remain active?
I was going to ask about Joey's term as well. I think that's an area where we can improve our bylaws as far as an inactivity and what's our protocol. I feel like we do have room for the 2 seats given the inactivity, but I would also echo your question, Todd, as far as, if we take the 2, then we're going to have potentially, well, technically Lily's community member, but we would have, considering Carter, Joey, Robert, that we would have 4, right? So
Well, Carter would also be a community member. He graduated in May.
this is true. So
So-
technically we can, then I would say that's true. You're right.
We'd have 3 student reps.
Right.
Lily is still interested. She can't speak. She lost her voice. She's in quarantine. She's been going through a bit with all of that, but she is still interested. So that's
Thanks for
what
checking
she
in with
just
her.
let me know.
Okay.
We keep in touch on Facebook.
That's great.
She was very active throughout the time she was there, so deserve a lot of kudos. Okay, so how are we moving forward then? We got the floor, we got the motion for Robert. We have a second on it. We have the discussion continuing right now.
Well, I think we can vote on Robert. I think there's still a question about how many seats as far as beyond him is how I'm reading the discussion.
Okay, so we'll if there's no more discussion, then we'll move to the vote. All those in favor of Robert Morgan for being our student member on the APC, say aye.
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 All those opposed, say nay. No naysayers, so Robert is now a student member for the board, APC. And do I understand what you were saying, Laura, we could leave it open if we increase to another one student?
Well, I would argue that we should differentiate between alumni and current student. I think those are different roles and perspectives, if you will. And so yeah, we still have to stick to under 15 and so I think, yeah, the activity of Carter and or not, but I don't know that, and correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like two active current students, non-alumni, should still be okay, even if we have 2 alumni. But that being said, we're close to our 15.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Am I making sense? Okay.
You're making a lot of sense, Laura. You make a lot of sense.
I think that we are at 14 now with Robert. And I have not had any success contacting Carter or Carter's parents. So I don't even know if they're in state anymore.
Okay.
I can continue to try to connect with them before we make the final vote, or even anyone nominates Orlandis, just to make sure.
It sure would be nice to be able to give a leadership opportunity to a student who is in their junior year right now. And something that Carter had that opportunity, which is awesome. So it would be pretty nice to be able to see that. And
I agree.
that's my thought on that.
And to
I'm
get
gonna
back
make
to
a
the
motion.
bylaws,
Can we make a motion, or do we have to, because if we say Carter's inactive, let's say we do get in touch or he reaches out, we can say as a result of, I think that he would be understanding of that.
Yeah, and not that we want to do this, but our bylaws do say that an inactive member can be removed from the board.
Mm-hmm.
Now, are they enrolled or what's the?
Carter? No, Carter
No.
graduated.
Oh, okay. Okay. So that's a past tense situation then. Okay. That's my Alex speak.
And I mean, is it correct that previously we didn't actually have alumni on the board? They were
Correct.
both so active that they were both expressed interest in being able to continue to contribute. Is that accurate?
Correct. So in our update with our bylaws, we can include that as a type of seat, right? You can say alumni to equate to our 15,
Mm-hmm.
which would not impact current enrolled students.
Sure, we can definitely do something like that.
All right.
All right, then. I
So
guess,
do we need to wait to make a motion on Orlando?
No. I don't think so. I think we should make one.
Well, then I would move that we should also accept Orlandis to the board and give him this leadership opportunity, and also adds more equity to our board at the same time.
I second that.
we got a motion and we got a second on it. Any more discussion? Hearing none.
my only concern is he's been to one meeting.
Part
So
of that
how
is tech issues for
truly-
him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
how interested is he truly in being an APC member? That's my only concern.
I know there's technology issues there. So I don't know. I feel it's hard to say when we can't like actually talk to each other.
Yeah, face to face on that.
Yeah.
And I'm curious, like, did he see the announcement with the link? I know that Robert had me to help make sure he had access to that.
I
And
had
I'm
a
not
really
sure.
hard time finding it this time.
Me too. I always have a hard time finding it and figuring out where the link is. And I usually end up getting it from the email that you send out to families, because I don't think it's in our one. So I wasn't sure how much of a chance he had of seeing it, or if he missed it, because I think it came in a PTSO headline. The one that went out to
Yeah,
families.
the text was for both, and
Okay.
so was the email. They were both.
Do we morph back and forth on the link? We don't have one that I've just always went to the most current and gone. But
Yep,
we don't.
no, it's on our website too, under events. I've made it so it's a recurring event. So the YouTube Live link is there, as is the Zoom link. There was a mix-up last meeting, but this is my personal meeting ID room. So it's what I use for morning meeting. It's what I use for everything. So we had last year, we started doing a different Zoom link for every meeting, but from now on, we'll just use this.
Use the same one then.
Yeah. Mhm. Yep. But so I thought you were asking how he found out about the position, and I will tell you that a couple of teachers. So I asked staff members to let me know if they thought of anyone who would be a good addition, and his name came up a couple of times early in the year. And so then I reached out to him and said, hey, and not just him, there were about 10 students that I reached out to and said, hey, here's this opportunity. Is this something you'd be interested in? And he wrote back, yes. And then he followed up again later to say what's going on with that position. So he has shown initiative, to answer your question, Brenda.
Okay, Brenda, is that a good answer there for you?
Yes, I'm happy. Thank you.
Okay, moving forward with the vote on this then, unless there's more discussion. All those in favor, say aye.
I
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Okay, so we have another member, then a student member on the board. Okay.
Thank you.
Mhm. We can move on now then to APC goal strategy and action.
All right. Laura, do you want to drive?
Sure.
Okay.
You're in the driver's seat, you realize that.
You're so gracious in leading us through this process.
So last time, and we're going to lean on each other for some realistic next steps here, because I think some are in the stage of ready to get committees formed for actionizing. I'm going to share my screen just so you have a visual as far as where we left off, but we are operating out of those 3 templates.
Laura, I just popped them all into the chat.
Awesome.
I saved them to my meetings, so I see them every time.
Very good. Very good. Yes, they're handy to have there. So we have our goals set, and each team last time was working on getting a little more detail as far as actions and defense. So I'm just going to pop up one of the templates. I'm not going to peruse all of them, just for the purposes of this section. But regardless of the committee that you're on, or the goal setting committee that you're on, we are going to want and need some committees formed. And it's a little weird. The conundrum is that we have a goal on committees, how we're going to do, or update how we're going to do our committees. But each of the goals, family involvement, data, and then this committee protocols and productivity, are all going to need some work groups in order to flesh out. And I would say that these are going to lead into the following year as well. But I say that all as it is January, and it would be nice to have one of the next steps be committee forming. So based on what I read from last time, and I see your hand, Todd, thank you. Actions and strategies is the column that people were working on. And then skipping over to look fors, in other words, how would we defend that we have met our goal? So the actions are not your goal. The actions are the things that we're going to try to do to move forward on our goal. The look fors are the evidence by which we performed against that goal. So that if we are holding ourselves accountable, we're talking about how we're doing on our goals, which I am hoping that we start doing a little more of. We can say, hey, yeah, we've got this, we have this, we looked at this data, I can speak to this, etc. Question, Todd, please.
Thank you. To me, when the look for column is done, is that the end goal? Or is our goals set and structured?
Yes.
And then this goal setting process has been completed?
Yeah, I would agree with that, Todd. The only question I had for the team is, do we want, and I'm going to ask this because there's no wrong answer, but the only time we have perused these goals was in the initial round when we did the feedback that we got at the bottom. And then the teams last time were coached to look at that feedback again and try to incorporate it when they were working on their actions and the look fors. So my question for the board tonight is, going into the teams, do we want to double check what we have, make sure it's good to go, or do we feel like it is already good to go and now it's time to do feedback and form committees? That was kind of my next step question.
It might depend on the group, but I feel like my group's ready for feedback.
I took
So
a quick peek beforehand and I did like throw a new bullet into a thing that wasn't mine. So somebody's going to get into performance and be like, what's that? We didn't write that. So number 3, I added later.
That's fair. So I'm hearing from a few folk that maybe we're ready to kind of tour the other goals that we didn't work on.
Yeah. With the one you have on the screen, there's two additional linked pages, Google Docs. So those are active links. The blue are active links up there. But that was because we were going to begin the process of actually beginning to kind of pioneer out how you actually can do some of the work of using collaborative tools. So there's I'll just say right now, I don't think this is completely done. It's ready to be toured, but I'm happy to be part of this group and keep this one running via Google Docs at least in the beginning, with some sort of protocols that we agree on. But it's ready to be it's ready for the look fors and the other thoughts, because it's not done.
All right. So here, thank you for that, John. Appreciate that. So here's what I'm going to suggest and push back on me here. I'm going to vote that we spend 5 minutes individually touring the other goals that we did not work on. And I would say that we would use the same protocol that we did last time, which would be win, wonder, suggest, but you would insert comments using the comment button. So for example, you read this look for and you have feedback on that, you would hit the comment. Oh, it's not, and then you would say, yo, I wonder, not yo, I wonder, right? Or a suggestion might be, I like the fact that. So you would use the protocol to post anything that's coming up for you, win, wonder, or suggest. And I would limit those. I wouldn't, as an individual, maybe your goal might be to post 2 comments. It doesn't have to be, I got 2 wins, 2 wonders, 2 suggests, but in general. So we peruse for 5 minutes. And then my next suggestion would be, from there, we select for each of the goals, kind of a spearheader to then take all of it, the entire enchilada, the comments, the feedback below, and look at the alignment. Do the look fors make sense with the feedback, and make those adjustments based on the board's feedback? That would then lead us into committee sign up. Who's going to work on what committee for the goals? How's that sound? Yes.
So we're looking at templates that we didn't work on, correct?
Correct.
That sounds really good, Laura.
All right. Any nays to that? So I'm seeing a lot of, yep, I get it. So what you would do, so for me, I'm on the data one. I'm going to go look at family engagement, and I'm going to look at committees, and I'm going to post, not a ton, but as it resonates, when wonders suggest, using comment field. When we come back, I think the next piece would be we select, elect who's going to own that template on the behalf of the board, so we don't have 5 people trying to clean it up. And then we might even have time to get committees formed by the time we're out of here. Because the document doesn't need to be clean in order to select committee members, I don't feel like. That could be homework. Okay. All right. Well, I will be happy to start a clock. So I'll be our timekeeper. I'll give you like a 1-minute warning. Does everybody have the documents? What's in chat? Any issues with the documents? I think we're good because we've all worked on them. I love that Jim's in the dark. It's like cool. It's like, oh, there's Jim. All right. So 5 minutes to peruse when wonder suggest, and feel free to go screen off if you need it. See you back here in 5 minutes.
I'm in the dark on things a lot, Laura.
You have about 1 minute. All right, that might be time unless you want more. Did everybody get enough to peruse 2 of the goals? I'm seeing faces of concentration, which is a good sign. Means that things are going around in our minds. We're contemplating. So every goal sheet should now have some feedback. And I think that the bottom feedback on the side, and then all just the working document in itself can now get a little cleaned up and solidified. So I think what we need now is a volunteer from each of those goal committees to be the Google Doc champion and spearhead getting to a working final on that document. So, do we have any volunteers for family engagement? And you don't have to have worked on family engagement to do this, but it might help because you have discussion memory a little bit, maybe.
I'm happy to help with family engagement. I'm interested in the piece that I added in particular to a different performance template as well.
All right. Thank you for that, Shelley. Amy, would you mind noting in the minutes, even though I know this is probably not protocol, that who's going to be the Google Doc person for each of them?
Sure.
Thanks.
The Google Doc person.
The Google Doc.
And this means what exactly?
So
I think I was half typing, half listening, and then sort of responding, feeling like I had to say something. It's very dangerous.
Yeah. So for me, and people, please add on to this thinking. It means you're going to go through the feedback, the comments that were just posted, but also the bottom, and you're gonna add to, adjust, get it to that working final level on behalf of the board.
I'm happy to do that for family engagement.
Thanks. So like resolve the comments as you go through it. So it's a working document. It doesn't have to be beautiful, but it's cleaner than it is now, if that makes sense. Any volunteers for the committee group to be the Google Doc champion?
And by committee group, you're talking about protocols and.
Yes, sorry. I keep saying.
I don't mind helping with that, or I don't mind doing that. I don't want to hog it if somebody's got a passion to do that, but I certainly don't mind.
You hog it. You're good at it.
Go for it, John.
Partially, you're good at it because you're very receptive to when the rest of us have ideas.
Good. Yeah. Well, great. Then I don't mind doing it.
Thank you, John. All right. So John's going to be our Google Doc champion for our our protocols goal. I just love these goals, by the way. We should be pretty happy about our progress on the goals. And then last but not least, we have our performance. I keep calling it data, which is bad, but it's our performance progress goal. Anybody want to volunteer to do that one?
I can volunteer to do that one.
Woot woot. Thank you very much.
Yep.
Now, Google Doc Champions, if there is a comment or a piece of feedback on there and you're not sure that you want to make the executive decision on it, then just leave it there, right? But other than that, I'm going to speak on behalf of the board unless the board yells at me that we trust you to clean it up, check things off, get rid of stuff. There's nothing worse than looking at a goal template that has like minutia on it, if I can share my opinion. So we trust that you're going to clean it up, but if there is something on there that you're not sure, like someone posed a question, then please leave it there. The other thing that I've noticed a little bit on the feedback is wanting some historical documents, some resources. So for example, I noticed people are asking, well, what were our business partnerships? And do we have that documentation? So another thing, Google Doc Champions, that you might want to do is create another column or maybe a box at the bottom that says materials needed, resources needed, so that we can get that stuff pulled together. Make sense?
Makes good sense.
Okay.
Laura, you don't mind if I maybe email you this week or this next few weeks if
Please.
okay, good.
Yeah. So, and you read my mind, John. I'm happy to be the, I don't know what that would be called, but I'm happy to be the Google Doc champion support cheerleader or whatever. Feel free to email me. You know, we can have some dialogue digitally to kind of help get it moving. Yeah. So just to reiterate, we have our Google Doc champions, one for each goal. They're going to help clean it up. They're going to note the feedback. They're going to get rid of feedback they're sure of. They're going to leave stuff they wonder about, and they're going to maybe add a potential resource bucket or materials needed. Clarifications about any of that? Right on, rock on. Okay, so then I would say the next step would be that we already have a column for committee membership, and we have 3 goals, and we have we have board membership, right? So my suggestion might be that we, and I don't have a protocol in mind, which is unusual for this, but if you knew me, you would know that that is unusual. But I do think that a next step so that we can maybe even have breakouts at our next meeting would be, and to start scheduling some committee time, would be to get these committees formed. But I would want it to be spread out. And at first I was going to say, everybody just go sign up for the one they want and see how we land. Because if everybody signs up for performance, then obviously we have a problem.
I agree.
Todd, question or suggestion?
Would the purpose of the committees be to develop the action strategies? I don't understand the job of the committees.
It's a beautiful question. So yes, the committee, I think, one of their first steps would be to make the goal a little more strategic based on how the working final is sitting. So what makes sense to do first, second, third? So get kind of in flux with the action plan of the goal. And then, yes, the second goal I would say of the committee is to begin whatever they say is the priority. They would start working on it. Which in most of the cases of our goals at this stage is going to be product development. right? So surveys, a lot of that, you got to do the do before you get to the impact. I always say that's a do. Doesn't prove you made any impact though, just because you created a pretty poster. I love your poster, but before we can get to impact, sometimes we got to create the product. So I think that's what's going to happen first with these committees. Did that answer your question? A little bit?
Amy, you're recording this meeting, right? Can I ask that you share a link to that recording with me tomorrow or sometime soon? Because I think a lot of the process we're talking about in here is actually going to be incorporated in the protocol document at some point as a draft possibility. So I really want to go over this more carefully.
Yeah, absolutely. The YouTube link is on our website, but I can pull that off and send it back to you.
It's live, but it's also recording.
Yeah, so all of our meetings
How
are
much
in my YouTube channel.
Oh,
So,
good.
yeah.
All right. No, then I can just get used to using the channel. I didn't know if it was live that it could also be asynchronously recorded for later use. Okay.
Yeah, it's really handy.
Yeah, that's very handy.
Yeah.
So I think to echo Todd's question, which is a valid question, since it's been a while since we did committees and we have a lot of new members and we have a goal on protocols. My thinking is we form the committees, we sign up tonight, and then at our next meeting, I don't think committees need to meet between now and next meeting because the Google Doc champions need to do their magic. But at our next meeting, we do a mini breakout and we, as a board, we flush out, well, what are the initial, generally speaking, the initial actions of the committee? And then we can do some mini breakouts to get our first pieces decided upon and then report out to the full board so that we're all on the same page before we start dividing and conquering, if that makes sense.
So for tonight, all that we need to do is record what committee, if any, or that we want to work on. So
yeah, if y'all are okay with everything that just came out of my mouth, then I would say yes, we just go and sign up. And I would say, don't limit yourself. I mean, if you have an interest in two, and I am fine volunteering to be the committee organizing person that will go through these lists and kind of move us around as needed based on the signups. I mean, it might be clean. It might not be. I don't know.
mhm.
Yeah.
I think I think a lot of people already know where their interests are, so that it'll probably work out pretty smooth.
Groovy. So is everybody okay with that? That you're going to go on these Google Docs and the column that says committee members to be determined later, you're going to just put your name in the white box right underneath the yellow box. Wherever you want to live.
And are we some people doing more than one? Okay.
Yeah, I would say at this point, just sign up wherever you want and I will own figuring it out if it's messy.
There you go. Smooth and easy.
All right, did everybody get enough time?
Mhm.
Right on. So there's been a suggestion as far as next steps for meetings. Amy, did you want me to speak to that, or do you want to talk about it, or throw it out there?
Sure. Yeah, sure. I'll share what I was thinking. I think it would be good for us to come back together as a group in February again to review this and review what's been done. And then in lieu of a meeting in March, we give time for committee meetings and then report back in April.
I like it.
I do too. It kind of gets to that. We once were at every other month, but then we thought we needed to do more work. Seems perfect.
Perfect.
That seems good.
I
that's
might be
great.
lacking a big picture in my mind right now. When is our goal set so we can actually start measuring our progress? Is that
Good
going to be
question.
April now?
No, that's a valid question, Todd. We had, I think at least one of the goals, we had dates like 2021 is mentioned.
Yeah.
And I'm open to thinking here, of course, but in my mind, we have spent so much time developing board membership and then getting the goals solidified because we hadn't done goals in a while. And I feel like we've been working on the process of what that is for us again, or revitalizing it, I guess would be a better way to say it. So I almost feel like these would continue. Plus we were going to have a retreat, remember, which didn't happen. So that kind of pushed us back. So not excuses, but I think these would be continuing into the next school year, but we haven't had that as an open discussion as far as an adjustment.
Can I just add on to that? I
Please.
kind of think the work we've been doing has created an overarching vision. And now with these committees forming right now, those committees will be able to frame out right away. I think we're starting the work right now. And I don't think, and I think we're all starting from a solid understanding. And so Todd, if you're saying, when is this getting officially started? I think this is the official start, and each committee is going to frame out smart accountability look fors that then I think we've got done with the big picture, and we're now going into the task group work, and
that was kind of, I guess, where I was going to, like, as a board, shouldn't we move to accept our goals as written? These are our goals as written that we will be working on.
We haven't officially done that, have we?
That's true.
Was that a motion, Todd?
I second that motion. If it was.
We did as a goal on the goal areas. We all agreed
on the goal areas. You're right. We did do that, but not since then. Yeah.
We have goal statements in each category that's been refined multiple times. Maybe we should wait till should we wait till the Google doctors make one last pass through? But
yeah,
I
that makes sense. If we move and vote and all that stuff, then those goals can't be changed without moving for an amendment and all that stuff. So yeah, the Google Doc champions, after peer review today, we'll get a final draft and we can do that then. Okay.
Nice.
Thank you.
Thank you for the question. And I think too, as far as in-date data and accountability, I'd love to see something, and this is just me going off the cuff here, and it depends on the goal, but a December mid-check, May check, right? And we're going to be working from now until, I would say, the end of the following school year, but that doesn't mean all 3 goals would last that long. I think we're going to get into a flow of folding and getting new goals and maybe different committees. But just as far as going from now until December, that's a long time. So part of the protocols is to get that agenda item as far as committee check-in, but I think it'll vary depending on the goal as far as due date, accountability level. All right.
And
I
did you say February meeting committees March? Was that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
So Google Doctors and myself with the miniature homework, we will have that ready by the February meeting. And then do we need to set those meetings for March now? Or are we going to do that at the February meeting?
I would suggest that.
Let's see. Historically, we've done the third Thursday of every month. So that would be the 18th of February, which is the day after the PTSO meeting. We can
It's brutal.
It is kind of tough, I will admit. Doing 2 evening meetings in a row. So
Well,
we can
feel
do
free
that.
to move it. I'm open to
No, that's fine. I'm
a couple
flexible.
minutes on the agenda here. We can discuss a different week.
Thursdays are good. I'm good with Thursdays.
The 11th or the 25th?
Historically, it used to be it would have been the 11th, apparently, according to how it was input into my calendar a long time ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at too. Is it sitting
Okay.
here going February 11th APC meeting?
Did it used to be? I think it used to be the second Thursday of
Yes.
every month, and then we had a couple holidays over the last couple months, and I think that's what ended up shifting it down. Because we didn't always have the same week. It used to be for
Right.
Brenda, me, and Amy. It used to be one week was one, and the other week
Well, that's
was
3
the
weeks.
next one. So
Is everybody okay with the 11th?
February the 11th?
Yes.
Okay.
And I'll send out an invite and I'll make sure that the Zoom link is on that invite so it's easy to find. Yeah.
awesome. And should we plan then for it traditionally, barring exceptions, being the second Thursday of each month to make it easy for folks to remember?
I thought we were just making an adjustment for
We're
February.
making an adjustment for February. This is a whole second category, and I don't know how I feel about that. Do we need to think about that right now?
That's what it was. And then we had a couple of months where we had to move it because of holidays. Because I'm looking forward, and I have a long history of the second Tuesday.
But Amy's already sent out meeting dates for like scheduled
okay.
for the 8th. I mean, I have those already in my calendar as already set dates. So
Oh, I do not. Okay.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't either. I had the second Thursday for all of them. Okay.
Yeah, me
We
too.
didn't have one in February, but I did send out an invite for March 18th.
Oh,
And that could
okay.
have been my mistake. I thought they were always the third Thursday of the month.
and May,
Yeah.
Okay.
you sent out spring invites.
I
Basically.
So
sent
it's-
out for every other month.
Yeah.
March 18th, April 15th, and May 20th?
It's every other month. So.
Oh,
not
that's right.
April.
Okay.
April's not set,
That's
but
right.
May, yeah.
Okay. So it's
Okay,
May
so
20th.
for now though, we're planning on February 11th for an invite.
Okay.
And then March is gonna probably adjust because of committee work, but we can
Right.
figure that out on the 11th.
Okay. Okay.
Is that okay?
Sounds
All
good.
right. Rock stars, thank you. And thanks in advance to our Google Doc champions, and reach out if you need any help, and I will work on the committees. I'm just going to move stuff in the Google Doc. So if you're curious about if you signed up for more than one, and then you feel free to yell at me if you wanted one or more than the other. I don't know, but I'll go in there and look and see if we need to move people around.
And Amy, it might be helpful if you're including the Zoom link to include these 3 links in all of the meeting announcements too. And that way folks have them easily accessible. I've stuck them in mine, but it's always confusing because it comes into the district email,
Mhm. I know.
which isn't so then I forward it to to my work one so I can get it on my calendar easily. So, but that's just my own weird.
No, I've
Good
got
thing.
issues with my devices
Do
too.
you?
It works on my phone, but not, I don't even know what I did. I can't, and usually I feel okay smart with that, but yeah, it's not, but yeah.
Laura, since you're the owner of these, could you add just APC to the beginning of each of the titles? It would make it easier to search for them too in the drive if you're.
Oh, that's true.
Cool. And I would coach you, if you haven't already done so, to make a folder called APC.
Yes.
Big fan of those folders.
Yes.
All right. I will do that though. I'll change them right now.
Okay, that'd be great.
Okay, so we're good to go then?
I think so.
All right.
Awesome.
So-
Well, should I move to end the meeting and adjourn?
Yeah, do we have a
Is that
motion?
what I'm
on the
hearing?
floor?
I
have
move
a
that it's
motion?
time for dinner.
Can I have a point of
Oh, yeah.
personal privilege real quick?
Did I
Please.
hear a second?
No
Hold
time.
on, Alex.
Nope.
No second?
Todd?
Todd, hang on.
Oh, Todd
Alex,
gave me
hang
a
on.
second.
Todd has a comment.
Oh, comment.
I just wanted to thank Robert for applying and stepping up to this position and sticking with us through the process, and welcome.
Welcome.
Yay.
Thank you.
Good to have you aboard,
Well
Robert.
said.
Now, boy, are we gonna give you a lot of work to do.
All those good leadership skills for you guys.
Give it to the new guy.
Right. Okay. I heard a motion.
Now I second.
You got a second on it. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of adjourning, say aye.
Aye.
All say nay. Okay, no naysayers. Sounds like we're adjourned.
Good night, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good
Thank
night.
you all. Take
Hey.
care.
Hey, Amy, really quick.
We'll have fun.
Thank you. Thanks, Laura, for helping us keep
Brenda.
organized with all this.
My pleasure. Take
Can I
good
bend
care.
your ear
Bye,
for
everyone.
a second, Brenda? Or
Yeah,
you-
absolutely.
maybe even Shelley.
Oh, okay.
I didn't make it to the PTSO last night, but I hadn't heard back from Philip about who the phone carrier is, so I can get help setting up the voicemail recording.
Okay, that's concerning because he didn't
Or,
make it
sorry,
last
Philippe.
night either.
Yeah.
And I was going to write to him, and then everything just got crazy.
I know it's
he's
prioritized down here for me
all
too.
right
It's
here.
just my voicemail, but 2 parents have called me, and that's it.
And you don't
be
know,
nice to
Brenda.
have my
Have we
own
got an invoice?
It's with Pure Tech
Okay.
is the company.
So, and then the other question is, would they talk to me? Am I the account holder, but they don't know my name, right? So I might run into some issue if